Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the playbook behind modern disinformation. And look, we're not just talking about a few misleading articles. This is a full-blown strategy designed to change how you see reality itself, escalating from simple fakes all the way to AI-generated events that literally never happened.
So let's just jump right in with a scenario. Picture this. You're just scrolling through your feed, and then you see it, a video, and it looks totally real. It's former President Barack Obama in the Oval Office. But then FBI agents just storm in, they throw him to the ground, and they lead him away in handcuffs. I mean, it's shocking, it's dramatic, and it looks 100% authentic.
But of course, it never happened. Not a second of it. What I just described was an incredibly realistic AI-generated deepfake. It was created purely to give some kind of visual proof to a totally baseless conspiracy theory, a complete fabrication. So how in the world did we get to a point where something like this is even possible? Let's break it down.
You know, what we're seeing online isn't just random bits of chaos. There's a strategy to it. It's a playbook that uses the internet like a digital bullhorn to blast out manipulated media. And this strategy, it works kind of like a funnel, using more and more sophisticated technology to slowly get us used to seeing more and more extreme fakes.
So, this funnel has 3 basic stages, and each one gets a little more advanced. It all starts with something simple: deceptive editing. Then it moves into AI-powered mockery, and it ends with the really scary stuff: complete fabrication, creating entire events out of thin air. Let's see how this actually works, starting with step 1.
So back in 2020, you probably saw this incredibly heartwarming video of 2 little toddlers, best friends, just running to give each other a huge hug. It was pure joy. But then, a doctored version appeared that flipped the entire meaning on its head. By just adding some scary music and a fake, misspelled CNN headline, it created this totally false story of a racist baby chasing another child. A really simple edit, but a very powerful and destructive lie.
And then the playbook levels up to step 2, AI-driven mockery. During some really tense government shutdown talks, a video of Democratic leaders got manipulated. An AI voice clone took Chuck Schumer's real words about healthcare and swapped them with a fake script about needing new voters. At the same time, a cartoon mustache and sombrero were digitally slapped on to Hakeem Jeffries. The goal? To create what Jeffries himself called a malignant distraction and just shift the entire news cycle away from what was really going on.
But this playbook, it isn't just about doctored videos. It's also incredibly good at politicizing science, which we saw play out in a huge public health controversy back in September of 2025. And this is where a new tactic comes into play, something called the misinformation flywheel.
With those exact words, a White House press conference announced a direct causal link between taking Tylenol, acetaminophen, during pregnancy and autism. This was a bombshell claim. It flew in the face of guidance from major medical groups all over the world, and it immediately sparked a wave of confusion and fear for millions of people.
Okay, this slide right here is the key to understanding the manipulation. You have to get the difference between association and causation. Association just means 2 things are seen together, they happen around the same time. But causation, that's the smoking gun. That means one thing is proven to cause the other. And while some early, weaker studies found a slight association, they couldn't rule out all the other factors, like genetics or even the sickness the Tylenol was being used to treat in the first place.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. The whole argument basically flipped the scientific pyramid upside down. It promoted the weakest studies while totally ignoring the best research we have. See, the gold standard here are sibling control studies. They compare siblings within the same family, which is brilliant because it controls for a ton of genetic and environmental stuff. And what did they find? No causal link, period.
And the most important of these studies was just massive. It was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, and it looked at data from nearly 2.5 million children. The conclusion couldn't have been clearer. That weak association everyone was talking about was almost certainly due to other family factors, not the medicine itself. There was no causal effect.
And this is how you get the misinformation flywheel spinning. That official announcement led lawyers to try and revive hundreds of lawsuits that had already been dismissed. This in turn generated a ton of new headlines, which made the science seem way more unsettled than it actually was. The political claim fed the legal action, which fed the media, which then circled back and made the original weak claim seem legitimate. It's a perfect self-sustaining loop.
So, you might be asking yourself, if the point isn't just to make you believe one fake video or one piece of junk science, then what's the end game? What is the ultimate goal of all of this?
Well, the ultimate payoff is something called the liar's dividend.
The whole point is to pollute the information environment so badly that we as a society can no longer agree on a shared set of basic observable facts. It's about creating this thick fog of cynicism where nothing really feels true anymore.
And that's the really crucial point here. When the mere possibility of a deepfake exists, any real, genuine piece of evidence that's politically inconvenient can just be waved away as a fake. This strategy corrodes the very foundation of accountability, and it just makes it harder and harder to believe anything at all.
So this playbook, it's a direct and growing threat to how we talk to each other, to public trust, to everything. The stakes are incredibly high. Which leads to the big question. How do we build up our defenses against it? What do we do?
Well, experts say it's got to be an all-hands-on-deck approach. For the big tech platforms, it means adopting standards like C2PA, which is kind of like a digital watermark that proves where a file came from. For journalists, it means a verify-first mindset, treating everything as fake until it's proven real. And for all of us, it just means becoming more critical thinkers, especially when we see content that's designed to make us angry or scared.
And that's really the big takeaway here. The challenge ahead isn't just about learning to spot the next fake that comes across our screen. It's about a much bigger, much more fundamental fight to defend our shared understanding of reality itself. Because when you think about it, in a world of perfect fakes, the hardest question we all have to answer is, how do we agree on what's real?